So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 87 of our F1 Manage and Save. Now if you didn't watch the last episode in Singapore, go back and watch that one. It was an exciting one. Lando Norris picked up another win in a fantastic season. Mick Schumacher didn't quite get the look with the strategy and was down in P9. Couldn't make it work, unfortunately, and that has made a big difference to the drivers' standings and the constructors, because constructors' standings wise, Red Bull had a shocking weekend and we end up now back on top of the constructors' standings. We are around 18 points in front of Red Bull and Christian Horner's team. McLaren a fair bit back on 258 points. But if we have a look at the drivers' standings, Lando Norris is absolutely running away with it. 107 points in front now of Charles Leclerc. Mick Schumacher still trying to catch Sergio Perez. He's above one McLaren, but he needs to catch the other. This weekend we go to Suzuka and Japan. Now, interestingly, if we just have a little look at the car analysis, we are dropping down a little bit in terms of the upgrades. So this weekend on Saturday we do have a new underfloor coming, and I'm hoping we can get it on for qualifying, so that's something just to bear in mind. But as we head to Suzuka, we've got 53 laps around here. The expected strategy is a two-stop soft, medium, soft, or soft, soft, medium. A combination of those. The hard compound is not optimal around here according to the strategies. Something to keep a look at. Car attributes, acceleration, and medium and high-speed cornering paramount around this circuit. So I'm going to get through practice and hopefully I'll see you in qualifying with a brand new underfloor on this Ferrari.
Welcome back to what is proving to be an exciting weekend of Formula One action, with practice having finished and qualifying set to follow. There are no more chances to practice this weekend. It gets serious from now on in, as our teams prepare to record their best lap times ahead of tomorrow's race. One good lap isn't enough to guarantee a strong position, with consistency absolutely essential for those looking to succeed. So get yourselves comfortable, it's going to be quite the ride.
It's a very rainy weekend here in Suzuka, and just to give you a little update, something I don't think I've ever seen before. Both Mercedes are out in Q1, as is Pierre Gasly in the Aston Martin. Max Verstappen, both Red Bulls are taking grid penalties this weekend, as are both Ferraris. It's going to be a spicy one. Let's get through to Q2 and Q3. So people, there we have it. We only got one quick run in Q3. Lando Norris got stuck behind Kevin Magnussen, which is why he's all the way down in P6 now. Obviously everybody in the top 6 apart from K-Mag has got grid penalties, so K-Mag will be on pole position for tomorrow. But let's get to the strategies now. We have got a very wet Grand Prix on Sunday, and we all know how the last one went a little earlier in this season. Right then guys, strategy is as follows. So let's have a look at Lando Norris. As he's starting from the very back, Lando Norris. We're starting on the soft compound tyre. We reckon the rain's going to come around lap 14. That is when we're going to switch to the intermediates. We're going to get a heavy bit of rain there and then into the medium compounded tyre. Whether we switch to wets or inters is going to be the key point. We'll have a look at that when we get to the track and see what's happening with the weather radar. So that's the plan for both cars. 20th and 11th. Going to be an interesting one this. Let's get to 5 red lights for a very, very wet Japanese Grand Prix.
Get ready. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and like many other cars, we have opted for the soft compound tyre. In fact, everybody is on the soft compound tyre. Mick Schumacher already looking to make a place up on Carlos Sainz. But interestingly, let's have a little look at the front, because Ocon led us away with Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen was on pole, but Esteban Ocon in the Lotus Renault is managing to get into P1 early doors in this Grand Prix. Mick Schumacher battling for P11 as we ride on board with the German driver. He's got a lot of work to do today. Leclerc and Verstappen have done quite well with grid penalties as well, so this could be a big weekend for Red Bull. We need to make sure we get this strategy absolutely spot on today. Lando Norris has got to try and get past these cars as quickly as he possibly can on lap 1. We see Schumacher overtaking Sainz. He's now up into P9. Mick Schumacher started P11 but has had a belting start, and he's already looking at that Red Bull of Charles Leclerc. But there, Alex Albon coming back at him. It's Albon versus Schumacher. going into the next corner. Schumacher has got the inside line and he's having a real ding-dong battle here with Alexander Albon. Slots into P9. Beautiful work from him. Lando Norris has got traffic to clear at the back and he's got to start clearing it. Lap 1. And what is the one thing we did not need Mick Schumacher to do? And that was it. He parked up at the side of the road, couldn't rejoin safely, so he's now all the way at the back with Lando Norris. How many points is Mick Schumacher going to cost us this season, and are we going to make a change towards the end? We will have to see. Lando Norris then, now all the way at the back, can't get past the Williams of Yuki Tsunoda. It's been a very, very disappointing day so far for both Ferraris, but let's have a little look at the strategy screen, because we can see here, lap 11, it is a massive downpour, and we don't reckon we're going to get back to sort of intermediates while around lap 30. That's 19 laps. Then it could dry up pretty quickly. So, interestingly, I think we are going to go for the full wet tyres straight away when that rain comes. So we'll keep an eye on that. At the front, it's still Esteban Ocon leading from Kevin Magnussen. Verstappen is in P3, Perez P4, Ricardo P5, Sargent in the Williams in P6, he must be getting a nosebleed. Guan Yu Zhou in P7 in the Lotus Renault, battling with Charles Leclerc in P8, Alexander Albon P9, Carlos Sainz in the Aston Martin heading up in P10. Schumacher has had a shocker, lap 4. Lap 12, there is some rain coming and we are just getting a look at that now. At 3 minutes, we are expecting the downpour in 3 minutes, which is probably just about right because our tyres are absolutely dying to death. You can call this genius from Mick Schumacher, or you can call this just being too slow. He has got a 6-second gap to his teammate now, which will be enough to get both cars in immediately when the rain starts. Max Verstappen is now in the lead of the Grand Prix from Kevin Magnussen. Esteban Ocon's dropped a couple of places. The McLarens are having a really good day here in Suzuka in P3 and P4. Sargent is still in P5. He's doing a fantastic job for the Williams at the moment. Guan Yu Zhou in P7, Leclerc P8, Albon P9, Carlos Sainz in P10, Nicholas Latifi in P11. It's a very jumbled up grid, and at the moment both Ferraris are at the back of it. Lap 12. Box, and we are coming in this lap, as are a lot of other cars. Now, will they go for the wet compounded tyre or will they go for the intermediate? So let's have a look at Red Bull. They've gone for the wet tyre. Lando Norris is coming in now. We can see Lando coming in. Let's have a look to see who pits, who gets double stacked here, who's going to carry on. This is a crucial part of this Grand Prix for us here at Ferrari, and Lando Norris is in for his pit stop. Let's have a look at this here. Is it a good one? It certainly needs to be. 2.3 seconds, it's not bad at all. Mick Schumacher into the box as well. Let's have a look what he does. It's 2.3 seconds for him. It's a couple of good stops by the team. Has anyone stayed out? The top cars have stayed out, and this rain is coming down. This is the chance to get back in the points for us. This is the chance. Lando Norris really now needs to get a shift on, as does Mick Schumacher. Both cars are going to be told to deploy on the ERS and get a massive shift on, because we sense a chance to get back into this race. We've got a yellow in sector 1. Driver running wide. I suggest that may have been Charles Leclerc. I could be wrong. It wasn't. It was Mick Schumacher, believe it or not. Let's have a little look at this. Mick Schumacher running wide. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not probably the only mistake he's going to make today, as we've seen so far. Lando Norris, let's have a look at the cars at the front. We can see all these top 8 cars at the moment running, and we are catching. We are catching at some pace. If we have a look at that view, we'll come back towards the end of this lap. And as you can see now, the cars who didn't pit are now pitting, and Logan Sargent, you have got to be upset with your team here, because you deserve so much more than that today. Lando Norris is trying his utmost here to get past these cars, as is Mick Schumacher. We are catching all the time. Let's have a look where Lando comes out. We've got a fair few cars in the pit. Sargent's being held. Ricardo down now into P14. The cars that didn't pit. Bottas still going on a set of soft compound tyres. Lando Norris now up into the points in P10, but he needs to get past Valtteri Bottas as quickly as he possibly can, as does Mick Schumacher. We'll keep an eye on this. Lando Norris looking left and right. Can he manage to somehow get past these two Mercedes? Let's have a look here. He's holding us up massively. And George Russell is doing Valtteri Bottas a massive favour here, as Lando Norris goes to the inside. Gets past George Russell beautifully. Now, can he make a dive down the inside here on Valtteri Bottas? He takes a look down the right-hand side. He's through. Mick Schumacher not quite getting the same treatment there, but Lando Norris, good work from him. Lap 15 up into P8. Joining us back on lap 16 where Mick Schumacher is battling with Sebastian Vettel, his old mentor, down the start finish straight in P11. He's got quite a gap before he gets to George Russell in P10 at this moment in time. Lando Norris sitting nicely now in P8. He can use this type. He can use these tyres and start to work his way up to Carlos Sainz and use that fresh engine, of course, as well. So Lando Norris doing pretty well, as is our man Mick Schumacher now. He's battling. Imagine where he could have been if he hadn't had that little mistake earlier in the race. He looks like he's just about got Sebastian Vettel covered, which he has. Lap 16, Max Verstappen is leading. Remember, this now is the important part, because this period where it goes to the dry compound tyre, get this pit stop right, who knows what could happen. Lap 16. Mick Schumacher is making this job a lot harder than he needs to be. Once again, running wide. He blocked off the McLaren. I'm not sure if that's the... let's have a little look at that. That's Danny Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. So he has got a Red Bull behind him. So if we can keep it that way, I'll be pretty happy with that. Lando Norris just charging the battery up a little bit as well at this moment in time, just making sure that when we get back to that dry running, that we can definitely make an impact on the medium compound tyres, the fresh medium compound tyres, which we will have. Lap 20, Verstappen from Perez. This ought to just be the highlight reel of Mick Schumacher making a mess of things. He's locked up now. He's having a mare. He's having an absolute mare, and there's been people in the comments saying get rid of him. We've stuck with him, but I've got to say this is probably his worst Grand Prix today, and he's now a fair distance behind Charles Leclerc, and I really don't know what to do with him. P16 now for Mick Schumacher. Lando Norris looking pretty tasty in P8. We've not got far to Carlos Sainz. Like I said, we get this pit stop right, anything could happen. It's 7.37 millimeters of water on the track. It is a very, very wet Suzuka here in Japan. Mick Schumacher can't handle it. Lap 21. Believe it or not, somebody else was run wide, and that was Max Verstappen under pressure from the McLaren there of Checo Perez. Checo Perez takes the race lead at this moment in time. He's only 3 times behind. It didn't cost Verstappen a lot of time. Lando Norris has closed up to this little gaggle of cars in front of him. He's looking in a nice position. Mick Schumacher still down in P16. I'm still harbouring hope for the points for Mick Schumacher. The track is starting to dry out, so something to be aware of. We want to be full of battery and having enough fuel when we get back to dry compound running, and then I feel we can make a charge with Lando Norris. Mick Schumacher, can we get some points today? If Schumacher can beat Leclerc, I would be very, very happy with that. Notable people in the top 10, Lance Stroll in the Nissan doing a fantastic job keeping up with the Lotus Renault of Esteban Ocon. Albon in P6 as you would expect. George Russell has had a very, very good race coming from the back as well after being out in Q1. Yuki Tsunoda in P10 in the Williams, but Charles Leclerc scoring no points in P13 at this moment in time. We've just had a multiple car crash on lap 29. I'm hoping we're going to get a replay. We certainly are. I'm amazed this hasn't caused a safety car. I really am. And I've got to say, if I'm Lance Stroll, I'd be absolutely fuming. It's Alexander Albon, takes out the Nissan of Lance Stroll. What you'll notice that did do was put Lando Norris up into P6. So Lando Norris is well in the fight now for a podium, I would possibly suggest. Mick Schumacher didn't benefit too much from that, although there's going to be a couple of cars needing a pit stop. We've got a couple of cars in the pit lane as well that are coming in for intermediate tyres. Very, very interesting. We're expecting this to dry up pretty quickly, but these guys coming in for intermediates. Now, will this be an error from these guys? Let's have a look. Where is Lando Norris and the rest of these cars? If we can beat these out of the pit lane, we've got a lot of cars coming in, and we have stayed out with Lando Norris. This could be a big, big moment in this race. We're now hoping that it's going to dry out quickly. It could be a big mistake, but I'm hoping that it won't be. Mick Schumacher's also staying out, and everybody else has come in for the intermediate tyres. Big call from the Ferrari pit wall. Lap 31, the track isn't drying up as quickly as we want it to, but we have got a very significant player in this game. Lando Norris is currently in P3. He's not lapping too badly at all. Mick Schumacher is going to be told to hold up the cars behind and make that Ferrari as wide as a London bus if he possibly can. Hold up the cars behind, give Lando some breathing space, That is the plan for us at this moment in time. We need this track to dry up and dry up quickly. Lap 31. Right, safety car is out and it compounds Mick Schumacher's day. Now, I believe we can take a little bit of blame for this, but let's have a little look. We've got Danny Ricciardo here, and to be fair, Danny Ricciardo, I would argue, has clipped Mick Schumacher there. I'm not convinced that that's Mick Schumacher's fault, but what that has done, ladies and gentlemen, has brought out a safety car. Now, we are expecting this to dry up. We made a very, very bold call by leaving Lando Norris out at the last, when it turned to intermediate running. We have now told Lando Norris to get to the pit lane and put on the medium compound tyres. Mick Schumacher's got a penalty. He's obviously out of this race. That I'm not too fussed about. I'm guessing Max Verstappen has carried on. We are going to tell Lando Norris to come in this lap. Let's just speed him up to the pit lane, which he should be doing now. He's pitting now. Lando Norris is into the pits. He's going to come out, and he's going to be on the dry compounder tyre. When we get back to green flag running, I would expect it to be near enough dry conditions. So it's a big call again from us on the Ferrari pit wall. Did we get the last one right? It could be argued either way. We can see Charles Leclerc coming down the pit straight. Let's have a look where he ends up here. Charles Leclerc coming down the pit lane. Lando Norris, is he going to come out in front of Charles Leclerc? I believe he isn't. He's going to come out just behind. But once we all box up, we may be ready for green flag running. It may be dry conditions. Let's see what happens here. Now, we haven't had the notification. I believe the safety car is ending. It's now dry conditions and everyone, apart from Lando Norris, is on the intermediate tyres. Let's have a look how this plays out here. This could be absolutely huge. We're going to keep an eye on Max Verstappen. Will these cars at the front pit? Is everyone on the grid going to pit apart from Lando Norris, who could possibly win this Grand Prix by an absolute mile? Let's have a look. Will Max Verstappen come into the pits? He will. Everyone is pitting. Everyone is pitting apart from Lando Norris, who has now got the whole track to himself, apart from Alexander Albon, who's going to stay out for one more lap. He's on the intermediate tyres. Everyone now is in the pit lane. Red Bull have double stacked, I believe. Red Bull double stack. Verstappen's going to come out. He's going to be in the points, but Lando Norris... People, please, if we are going to talk about strategies, talk about that one. We might not have got the first one right, but we certainly got that one right. Everyone in the pits, I'm interested. We're going to leave it a little moment just to see where everyone is and what the pecking order is as they've all come out of the pit lane. We can see now Lance Stroll still in P10 in the Nissan after that crash earlier. He'll be frustrated, he's not higher up. But Lando Norris leads the Grand Prix from Alexander Albon, who's got to pit. George Russell's in P3, remember, knocked out in Q1. Verstappen P4, Ocon P5, Bottas 6th. Both Mercedes running in points-paying positions at this moment in time, but they've gone for the soft compound tyre. Again, interesting choice. Leclerc P7, Perez P8, Zhou P9, Lance Stroll P10. Two retirees, Ricciardo and Schumacher. Lando Norris, I think we've got this one. And you know what? We weren't just content with winning this race at a canter. We've also just got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris in a league of his own here. I've got to say, I think we've got them strategy calls absolutely spot on. In hindsight, that safety car may have just been the kicker for us, but we've absolutely nailed it. Lap 39, I don't really want to come back to you until the last lap, because I think that should be, touch wood, job done. And I haven't come back to you before lap 53 because there's not been too much to tell you about. Lando Norris is on his final lap, but we're going to keep his eye on a very, very different battle because Max Verstappen and George Russell are battling it out for P2, and it's been very close. It's been very close all afternoon. Here we go then, Verstappen versus Russell for P2. Lando's won it at a canter. He's been saving his tyres. It's been a nice drive round Suzuka in the clearing sunshine here for Lando Norris. But George Russell and Max Verstappen have got one lap to try and get this P2. It's going to be big for Verstappen and Red Bull in the constructors' standings. But you've got to have a look at the Mercedes here today. Mercedes, it was a disaster on Saturday for both cars going out in Q1. But now look at it. Russell is fighting for P2. Bottas comfortably looking in P4, although he's got a very quick Lotus Renault and Esteban Ocon behind him. But as we go through this left-hander, George Russell is doing enough at this moment in time to hold off Max Verstappen. Pulls out a little bit of a gap there, gets a better exit. Verstappen taking a narrower line into this long right-hander. As we come up to the double left-hander now, with Verstappen still stalking that man George Russell. We know these have come together in real life, and we are now going to ride on board with Max Verstappen. Lando Norris has won another Grand Prix for Ferrari. He's won the Japanese Grand Prix. Fantastic work from him from back to front. Lando Norris has won it, but it's all eyes on George Russell and Max Verstappen. Can Max Verstappen get George Russell to the line here? Let's have a little look at this. Russell gets a decent exit. Verstappen going for it, looking left and right, doesn't manage to get the job done. It's a P2 for George Russell and P3 for Max Verstappen. Let's get to the podium celebrations, because bloody hell, Lando Norris back to front. Unbelievable.
Lando Norris can be proud. What a fantastic performance from him. This podium is a remarkable achievement for the whole team. And after such a fabulous drive here today, it's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
You've got to say, how good has Lando Norris been so far this season? I mean, 19 places gained. He's making up for all the shortcomings of Mick Schumacher. So the full classification is as follows: Norris P1, Russell P2, Verstappen in P3, Bottas P4, Esteban Ocon in P5, Charles Leclerc, double points scored for Red Bull, Perez P7, Guan Yu Zhou P8, Alexander Albon P9, Carlos Sainz in P10 in the Aston Martin. You've got to suggest that Logan Sargent's going to be very disappointed today, because he could have got some points and drove admirably in the Williams. So fair play to him. Mick Schumacher and Danny Ricciardo, the two DNFs in this race. Driver standings wise, it's another 26 points for Lando Norris. He's now got a 125 point lead. It's going to get to the point where I've got to start doing the calculations on whether he can be caught. Charles Leclerc is in P2, Verstappen in P3, Mick Schumacher scores 0 points to remain in P5. Constructors standings wise, Ferrari, we maintain our lead at the top of the constructors. In fact, we grow it by 3 points. It's now at 21 points, is it? It's 21 points to Red Bull. McLaren down in P3, and Lotus Renault Alpine having a fantastic season with a podium so far. Great work from them. Hope you've enjoyed that. The rain always adds a little bit of jeopardy, and I hope to see you on the next one. Ta-ra!